Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And this morning's topic is honesty, trust, and betrayal. Thorny, deep, rich topic to discuss. I'm looking forward to getting into it with you. And before we get started, let's take a couple minutes to just get settled in and take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs and flowing into your bloodstream and nourishing every cell in your body, every organ, bringing vital life energy into your body and being. And as you exhale, exhale any stress, any tension, any fatigue, negativity. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And this time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, electrifying, illuminating, energizing every molecule, every electron, and flowing into your body and being and beyond. And now exhale gently and release any fatigue, any negativity, stress, tension. And now let's just gently press our palms together, really softly rub your fingers against your palms and feel the delicious sensation of your fingertips and all the nerve endings in your palms, and bring yourselves present right here, right now. Good morning, everybody. How great to have you here. So, good morning, Christina and Robert and Suzanne and everybody else who's joining us. It's great to be with you. And um, today's topic is honesty, trust, and betrayal. And I know that we've had a lot of conversation recently where the topic of trust has come up, and I had a really interesting conversation yesterday when with um, a a person who has experienced some really deep betrayals, and as a result, when we experience betrayal in our lives, what happens is we lose trust in ourselves. I don't know if you've had. Good morning, Tammy. Welcome, welcome. It's great to have you here. I don't know if you guys have experienced times when it felt like the very foundation of of your reality just sort of cracked open and swallowed you whole, and you just didn't know what was up and what was down. And we were talking about riding the waves yesterday, and I think this is sort of a similar topic. Uh, and and what came up in this conversation that was really interesting was the people that this person felt betrayed by had given them all kinds of indicators of what kind of people they were. And this person, being the open-hearted person that they are, forgave and forgave and forgave. And I think that it's okay to forgive. I think it's important to forgive. The thing is that when we forgive, it's important to not be blinded to what someone is telling us about who they are, and to expect them to be other than they are. You know, you don't expect a zebra to have spots, right? It's just not going to have spots. No matter how much you want that zebra to have spots, it's going to keep having stripes. And so when people tell you who they are, when people show you who they are, because this person had suffered previous betrayals from this other person, what I want to look at what betrayal means. You know, because when we think about betrayal, we're making certain assumptions about another person. We're first off assuming that that other person has common values with us, most likely, right? We're assuming that we are on the same page. We're assuming that if they're telling us something, that it's true, or that they believe it. We're making tremendous assumptions that we don't typically explore. And so then when somebody does something that's out of alignment with our values, then we feel betrayed potentially. And so what I want to bring us back to is this notion of honesty, because what came up in this conversation, um, is this person's lack of trust for themselves now, because they felt that they made bad decisions perhaps, or they weren't sure if they made bad decisions. And the thing, especially with spiritually oriented folks who are trying to embody goodness and high values in the world, what we tend to do is to look at the light in others, to be seeing the light in others, to the elimination of other aspects of the person that we're interacting with. We all have light and dark, and in different measure and in different expression. And when we are being honest with ourselves, what happens typically is that we see both. We see the light, we see the darkness. We can forgive, but don't forget what this person has told you about who they are, right? If somebody has acted in a way that is in violation of your ideas, your values, um, remember that you can forgive them, but use that as information. It's feedback. It's important for you to remember what that it was, a communication of sorts, what that was, and know that that person has announced who they are. It's by denying who they are. I mean, I remember when I was a lot younger, I had a filter where I would just see the light in people. And people would say, I'm this way and I'm that way. And I'd say, no, 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 you're this and you're that and you're wonderful and you're, and I wouldn't pay attention to what they were telling me. And then down the road, when I found myself at at a crossroads with that person, where they showed me in their actions that they were who they told me they were, then I got devastated, because I was in denial. I wasn't being honest in my observation of who this person was. And I wasn't being honest with myself. And because I was lying to myself, then when they acted the way that they indicated that they would act, when they were being a zebra instead of a leopard, for instance, or a giraffe, where they had stripes instead of spots, I got all bent out of shape and upset and disappointed and betrayed and devastated. And why did that happen? It's because I didn't pay attention to the whole picture. I wasn't being honest. I wasn't being respectful of my own gut feelings in many situations. I would say, yeah, but this, like, give them the benefit of the doubt. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't respecting my own knowing. I wasn't willing to know my knowing. And as a result, I paid the consequence. So Robert says, in the past, I used to have a scanner which I used to scan people, but it gave many errors, as the results were that they were good people relative to my values, and turned out that they weren't such good people, again, according to my values. Let's see. Okay, in the past, I used to have a scanner which I used to scan people, but it gave many errors, as the results were that they were good people relative to my values, and turned out that they weren't such good people, again, according to my values. And Christina says, yeah, me too. Well, so I'm just going to challenge that. I'm going to challenge that, and I'm going to say that maybe according to our values, when we think about our knowing of people rationally, we get to rationalize a lot of things. I question, you guys, Robert and Christina and myself. I've questioned myself deeply around this, that um, when I touch into my gut, I get a gut feeling about people, and then like a recoiling from certain people, and then I will allow myself to override that. Good morning, Dennis. Welcome. um, Robert says, I love challenges. Good. So Suzanne says, I can totally relate to that, Mira. My scanner is usually right, but I override it a lot. Exactly. That's the thing. So in being well-meaning, hello, Kim. Hi, welcome. Great to have you here. Boy, it's been a long time. I'm so delighted that you're joining us. We're talking about honesty, trust, and betrayal. And what we're really looking at is that we have a really good scanner inside, but then as well, and we might get an alarm signal, when we meet somebody, or a kind of feeling like, oh, stay away, right? And then, because we're such well meaning people, because we want to give people the benefit of the doubt, because we want to be kind and generous and magnanimous and all those wonderful things, and spiritually aware and spiritually awake, what do? We say, no, no, no. We override it. We then go into our head about it, and we justify and we rationalize and say, yeah, but they show up this way, they show up that way, they're doing this, they're doing that, I can forgive them this, I'll overlook that. And what happens? Then we trust, we engage, we let down our guard, and pretty much inevitably, at least in my experience, when I've had that gut feeling, what happens is that there is a deep and profound experience of upset or betrayal or disruption. And and for me in my life, thankfully, I guess, enough of these situations were devastating enough for me that I started honoring my own internal scanner. And it wasn't my head. It wasn't my head telling me, oh, this is a good person. Look at what they're doing in the world. It wasn't my head saying, oh, I'm going to overlook that. I'm going to forgive that. I'm going to just I can forgive. Again, I can forgive, but please be informed by what you've learned. When somebody does something that is in violation of the values that you hold, or that you know that that is really deeply out of alignment, or that you get that kind of glitchy feeling about, pay attention. So Robert says our ego self is overriding our scanner. As the original scanner, the higher self or our gut feeling is always correct. I think that our gut feeling is correct. Frankly, I agree with you. I just want to talk a little bit about the ego self, because I think the ego gets a bad rap. I think we can have the ego as a tool to navigate the world. I think that we sense a lot of the world through um, the personas that we adopt. If we can befriend the ego kind of with an open hand, then it doesn't have to run the show all the time. And we can be in a collaboration with the ego rather than vilifying it or making it the enemy or the lesser. I think we maybe can work in concert with it. So maybe that goes against the grain. That's not common wisdom, but I think that yeah, that there's a lot that we can gain by finding a working relationship with the ego rather than being at loggerheads. Because what we're doing, if in that case, is we're pitting ourselves against ourselves, and we're dismissing a very important part of our expression or vehicle of our expression in the world. So we can talk more about that. I think it would be an interesting conversation also. So Suzanne says, I'm always drawn to people that need to be fixed. Got hurt so many times. Yes, exactly, right? People who need to be fixed. So when we're drawn to people who need to be fixed, what is it? What's the dynamic? you know, there's somewhere where we're getting validation from fixing other people, right? And a lot of times they don't even want to be fixed, right? Not that they even need fixing, but when they um, people who need to be fixed, it when you those kinds of relationships, a fixer and someone who needs to be fixed, it's a codependency, right? And in some way, it's creating a value for the person who's being the fixer, right? Like I get to feel good about myself because I'm helping this other person who really needs help. And the thing is that oftentimes those people who need to be fixed are really committed to staying broken. And I'm using really kind of black and white terms here, but that it's the case. If you're drawn to people that need to be fixed, then you need to be a fixer. And what's the dynamic there? Maybe part of it, at least for me, it used to be because I was drawn to people who needed to be fixed. What I noticed in myself was that it was trying to heal my brokenness by helping to heal others, and so now I work with people who are committed to their own transformation, and I make it a little bit of a high barrier for entry so that they're really committed to their own transformation. They're not relying on me to be the one to fix them. They know that they're in this collaboration with me. So that's a really big deal to start looking at what's the dynamic. What are you trying to fix in yourself? By giving yourself away, you're trying to heal certain brokenness or perception of brokenness in yourself, perhaps. And I Christina says, I see what you're saying. Sometimes it's me and my values saying, see the good in people. Or someone is saying what I want to hear. And then actions show differently, but I do tend to overlook or go to a thought that it must be me. Please, Christina, honor what you're observing. Pay attention. Pay attention to what people say and what people do, and if there's an alignment. If somebody is saying, I love you, and every time they see you there or speak to you or interact with you, they are doing damage, then pay attention. Pay attention. We get to be honest with ourselves. Ignoring those signs is not honest. It's not honest. It's not respectful. Okay, it's not respectful to you and your knowing. And the thing is that when we betray, here's the deal, guys, we get betrayed, right? But we knew better because we really saw the signs, but we ignored them. So what really happened? What really happened is we betrayed ourselves. We betrayed ourselves by not paying attention. And then it looks like it's the other person that hurt us. And then we stop trusting ourselves to make good decisions, right? Because here we thought this person was all that. Well, the thing is, we knew better in the first place, but we ignored and denied our knowing. So Robert says, like I said yesterday, many times we trust rumors and gossip. And today I continue with a personal example. About a year ago, I worked as a care worker, and all my colleagues were talking negative about another colleague. At one point, I saw that I was scheduled to work with that gossiped colleague, and I was like, no, why me? But when I worked with that colleague and got to know more about her, I figured out that the rumors were all lies. That's a brilliant and wonderful comment, Robert. Thank you. So this is another thing. I remember when I was going into first grade, which was centuries ago. Um, I heard about my teacher, and everybody hated this teacher, and she was so strict and she was so scary. And this teacher turned out to be such a wonderful teacher, and I loved and adored her, and I loved being in her class. And so yes, we get to make our own determinations, and we don't getting on the gossip train is no good for anybody. So we get to make our own assessments. And so Suzanne says, yes, it's a hard lesson to learn, but I'm changing that and also working on myself. And I'm thinking that, Suzanne, what you're talking about is the fixing. And, I was always drawn to people that needed fixing. I wanted to save the world by saving people from whatever difficulty they were having or from themselves. And the thing is, if they say I took life-saving course for swimming years and years ago. And when somebody is flailing about drowning, you need to be really careful because they will pull you down with them. And the thing about saving someone is we can only save ourselves when it comes down to it. Yes, we need help. Yes, we can benefit from help, but unless we're willing to save ourselves, nobody can save us. And so, Suzanne, it sounds like probably you have been nearly drowned by people that you have been trying to save. And I've been in that experience too. And so the thing is, it's like I'll be here to help somebody if they're helping themselves, but without that, I'm not going to be engaging. And that's my sense of maybe self-preservation, maybe just realizing that we all choose our own path in a certain way. And yeah, I think we get to be really, really honest with ourselves and honor our own knowing. So Kimberly says, I'm setting boundaries. Yes, exactly. It's hard to learn this lesson, Kimberly says. And Robert says, I actually loved working with her afterwards. Isn't that awesome, Robert? Well, so you made your own assessment, you made yourself present to the circumstance. And that's what I'm not saying listen to everybody else. You know, you can take what people say as input or feedback, but make your own assessment. But be honest with yourself. Be present with yourself. Honor your own knowing, because in the most dire situations, we know, even if the situation isn't dire, we actually do know. And what happens is we rationalize, we override our own knowing by thinking we should act a certain way, we should think a certain way, we should behave a certain way. And therefore we get ourselves into situations that we really truly knew better. And the thing that I want to be bringing us back around to is self-trust. So this honesty and trusting your gut allows us to steer clear or steer around situations that might end up in our betrayal of ourselves and a feeling of betrayal from others or by others, and then a consequent loss of self-trust. Because when we lose that self-trust, it's hard to regain it. It's hard to regain it. You know, it takes quieting yourself to and listening again, and paying attention to that voice that is so, by that time that voice has gotten so quiet because we have overridden it so much. Christina says, replying to Robert, from someone dealing with being a subject of the gossip train, I appreciate you bringing this perspective. And as someone currently hurting from this, it's hard to be in that situation. Rumors, gossip, and cliques are destructive. Christina, I'm so sorry to hear that you've been at the object of gossip and rumors. It is it is a hard place to be, and um, I think it's so important to be able to find um, trust in yourself, and to find people that actually matter to you. And maybe I probably the hurt came from rumors or gossip coming from people that you cared about, and I'm so sorry that you've suffered that heartbreak. Um, coming back to your own heart and your own knowing, presencing yourself to your own clarity. That's the place to heal, you know, to come into alignment with yourself, and if it's possible to extricate yourself from that and that really toxic environment. um, yeah, it's recognizing that those people are not your people, and if they can't see you for who they are, who you are, then they're not your people. And I hope that you find the support from people that are authentically able to see you for who you are, Christina. So thank you for sharing that from your heart. And Robert says, yes, true. All info should be regarded as such. And when we connect all the dots, we find out the real truth, and we can be amazed by what we find. Absolutely, Robert. You know, we find wonderful surprises in the most unexpected places. And it is a matter of allowing our internal guidance to direct us, and it will hold us safe. It will, if we listen and we pay attention, and we'll be guided to wonderful adventures as well, I believe. Kimberly says people can be cruel. Love and kindness overcomes all. People can be cruel and petty and small. And those people, we can just feel bad for them that they are not um, more open-hearted, that they're living so small. It's sad. Um, Kimberly is sending big hugs to you, Christina. Beautiful. Robert says, I can only say to Christina, I can only say that you don't have to let other people's opinions about yourself affect you. I think that's easily said. Like if we feel insecure when other people are saying awful things, it hurts. When we're feeling more secure, we can say, petty people, and dismiss it. So, it's a challenge sometimes to just dismiss what other people are saying, but they just don't get it. So that if you know that they're not seeing you for who you are, their pettiness is a reflection on them, truly. And Christina says, I'm working on that. Thank you. And replying to Robert, true, I'm working on that. Feeling pretty weak and thin skinned about that aspect. Need to do better. So be gentle with yourself, Christina, because uh, you you get to you get to find presence in your heart. You get to find the wonderful things about yourself. It doesn't have to be um, the opinions of others are just their opinions, and truly their opinions are reflections of themselves. So when we judge other people harshly, we are judging ourselves harshly. And I don't mean we are everyone, which we are, but when we judge others harshly, we have that judgment. We individually, we each hold that judgment. So when we're being cruel to other people, there's a cruelness that we have that we direct to ourselves as well. And so people who are cruel to other people are people who are suffering. It doesn't mean it's okay for them to be cruel, but it is a reflection of who they are. And this is part of understanding and being honest. When these people who are gossiping are these people that you really want to be associated with anyway? Are these people who are gossiping people who you really truly respect? Do you really truly respect their opinion? Just the fact that they're gossiping that way in the first place? So Kimberly says, and Tammy says, we love you, Christina. We do. We do. And Kimberly says, I told my mother I love her and miss her, and she didn't even reply. I have to be myself and love myself and can't let her hurt me anymore. So I can relate to that, Kimberly. I've told my mother that I love her. And actually, in the past, I told my mother that I love her. And she said, well, I don't know if I love you. It's like, oh, okay. That was in the past. Finally, we've gotten to the place where she's able occasionally to say she loves me. But yeah, so the thing is that um, we get to look at, am I saying I love you because I want someone to say I love you back? I mean, if I'm really truly loving somebody, maybe I don't even need them to love me back. I don't know. I mean, I get that it's wounding when at this point, I just kind of think it's funny, you know. And maybe that's because I'm twisted. I don't know, but I get to love her anyway. Some days she loves me, some days she doesn't. Okay. Maybe she just doesn't know how to express it. So, the thing is that if I'm saying I love you because I need you to tell me you love me, that's a whole different dynamic. And so I totally relate, Kimberly. I do. And at the same time, I see you saying, I'm praying for a solution. I really truly love her. Great. So just love her. Just love her, and don't need her. Don't need her to love you. So and Christina says, thank you. I do love you as well. And Christina replying to Robert says, I can send you an I am powerful audio that helped me greatly if you wish. Oh, Robert says that. That's awesome. That's awesome. That sounds wonderful. And Christina says, thank you, Robert. I accept any well intentioned help with gratitude. And Kim, that's awesome. Wonderful, Christina. And Kimberly says yes regarding her mom. Yes, it's her stuff. Exactly. It's her stuff. And so if she can't say, I love you, she hasn't felt love. She might not be able to receive love and might not therefore be able to give love. But just, you loving her is something that fills your heart, without necessarily needing something back. And Robert says to Christina, contact me when you feel ready to receive it. I'll have to see if I've uploaded it on my website. And Robert, that sounds like a wonderful thing for everybody. So lots and lots of love going around the room today. And it's such a gift to be with you guys and to be developing these relationships, these virtual relationships. It's so remarkable to me and magical. And so please honor yourself enough to be honest with yourself about what you see in others, knowing that part of that is a reflection of ourselves, but honor, like when you get that gut feeling, please respect it and trust it. And in trusting yourself, being honest with yourself and listening and paying attention to the whole picture of what you see out there rather than trying to sugarcoat it, then we will be able to navigate more safely and more effectively and more authentically in the world. And Robert says, yes, unfortunately, it's not my creation and I can't remember where I got it from, but it's a really powerful audio. So this is the empowering self audio. Good for you, Robert. Thank you for sharing that with folks. And Kimberly says, it's a beautiful day to be alive and learning to let go. And Kimberly says, blooming onion. I love it. That's funny that you say that. I had an onion that was starting to sprout and I planted it and it's just been growing crazy in all kinds of good ways. And Kimberly says, pulling back the layers. Yes. Yeah. Like shedding the onion skin, pulling back the layers. Exactly. Beautiful, beautiful. So I just want to say thank you guys. As always, you brighten my day, and it's such a privilege to be with you here. And I think we're going to call it a wrap for today. So I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection. And Maggie, who's over on the other side of the room right now, and I go live with on Enlightened World Network Facebook page every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. And please check out the other awesome programming on Enlightened World Network. And so much love to you all. Until next time.